What's up? Welcome back to the channel and welcome back to a new video. So I actually just got back from a family vacation. We took a trip to the Great Smoky Mountains. We took the Telluride. It did absolutely amazing. A lot of driving, but it handled it beautifully. We did over 1,500 miles in this thing. Absolutely loved it. We visited the Blue Ridge Mountains and everything. We went to the national parks and we did a lot of really cool stuff. So if anybody is curious, I know a lot of people do ask me about this car. We have been absolutely thrilled with it. It has been a fantastic family car. We have 3 kids. So being able to put everybody in here and kind of fit everything. We also had a box on the top, which I love doing. It was just a fantastic trip. So it was a nice kind of break away from the real world and even from the car, just taking a little bit of a kind of a break and just enjoying some family time and everything. But I will say it feels fantastic getting back into the garage, working on the F80 M3, and we're going to continue on with the modifications. So we have done quite a few things in the last few videos. Most recent one was the yellow daytime running lights, which I absolutely love. Finally got a chance to clean it up after all this time. Didn't make a video on it. I just enjoyed the thorough car wash that sometimes I really just like doing on my own and not filming. So we got that done and the car is looking amazing. Also got a really cool update. We got new wheels. I think you guys know what's coming. If you haven't followed me on Instagram, they are one of my favorite wheels of all time. This is my 3rd set of this brand, if that gives you any bit of a hint. And yeah, so I'm really looking forward to those coming in. So we're not going to be needing those spacers for the stock wheels, although I may throw them on and see what it looks like, but it's going to be pretty awesome. I'm really looking forward to it. However, in this video, we're actually going to be upgrading and installing new charge pipes. The charge pipes are actually the tubes that comes off the charge cooler here. So there's 1, 2, and they actually connect directly to the 2 turbos. A lot of the S55 guys actually upgrade the charge pipes for a couple of reasons. One of which, the plastic is brittle. It can wear out over time. It can crack, cause leaks. Obviously my car only has 19,000 miles, so it's not really that big of a concern right now, but obviously that's something that I recommend doing just for longevity, reliability, and plus they look a little ugly compared to all the really nice carbon that I got going on in here. Also, another thing is upgrading the charge pipes is you get a little bit larger diameter, so you get better flow, more power, and just overall better reliability. These pipes right here are coming right from the turbos, as I mentioned, so you want as clean and as much air as possible coming from there to go into the charge cooler to get this S55 up and going. So we're going to be upgrading with none other than the Eventuri charge pipes. These things are absolutely beautiful. I got the gloss version. You can get these in matte finish. However, the gloss takes a little bit longer because IND actually puts gloss on them in-house. Directly from Eventuri, they're actually the matte finish. So if you want to buy them from them, you can only get the matte finish. But if you get them from IND, you get this beautiful gloss finish, and this actually matches the stock strut brace right here. So it is a beautiful weave, a much larger weave than what most people are used to, but I love the carbon strut brace that comes stock on the S55s. So having that match is pretty awesome. Now as for the install, it's pretty simple. We're simply just unclamping some hose clamps, kind of take some things out of the way, and replacing with these. As you can see, there's not many parts. It's pretty straightforward, but there is a process to it, obviously, because you don't want to screw anything up. And naturally, because it is a German car, we need to remove 15 things in order to get to where we're going. So let's go ahead, let's get started. We actually need to first remove the strut brace right here. So we're actually going to take off the plastic covers on each side. There's 3 nuts in the back, quarter turn, then there's a little push pin on the side right here. Take them off and they pop right up. And then we can go ahead and I'll show you the next step on how to remove the strut brace. Now we're going to remove the strut brace. It is 3 13mm up here, 1 down here, 1 here, and 3 up there. So simply just unbolt them and you'll be able to slide the entire strut brace out. Then we're going to go ahead and remove this side of the intake. Now I am running the Eventuri intake right now. So if you're running stock, it's going to be a little bit different, but you still need to remove this side of your intake no matter what you are running. So you have access to the lower couplers to remove the charge pipes. So let's go ahead, remove the strut brace, and then move on to the next step. Also, there is one 10mm on the coolant reservoir right here. All right, the strut brace is removed. Now we're going to remove the engine cover. Super simple. There's just a couple little rubber inserts that pop right in, so you don't need to unscrew anything. It just pops right up. So let's remove that next. All right, so we got the engine cover removed. I had to remove the oil cap real quick because I'm running the black line oil cap, and it's a little bit larger, and I didn't want to scratch the carbon, so I removed that and obviously put it back because you don't want anything falling in. Now we're going to go ahead and remove the passenger side intake. So we're going to unplug the MAF, and for me, all I got to do is unbolt one of those clamps right there, and the whole thing just pops right out. There is a little rubber grommet on this side that just pops right in and out. Same thing like stock, although I believe there's one more grommet on this side for the stock airbox. But let's go ahead and remove that, then we can move on to the charge pipes. Passenger side intake removed. Now that we have an opening, take a microfiber towel and just kind of stuff it into the tube right here, because you obviously do not want anything falling in there. Obviously don't forget to remove that. It's going to be hard to not remove that because it's pretty obvious. But now we have access to the charge pipes. So pretty simple. There's just normal clamps up here. I believe these are 7mm back here. I'll confirm that once I get to it. And then down there is a special kind of nut. I believe it's a T8. Now, just to keep in mind, obviously the clamps up here, there's a screw in the bottom. And in order to remove this, you don't want to just pull it out. You kind of want to pull up, then out, because of this right here. This is a little rubber grommet that hooks onto this little tab. And if you pull it the wrong way, this is known to crack. So be really careful. So once you loosen everything, kind of pull up a little bit so it gets off this little tab, and then you can remove it safely. All right, so we got the 8mm removed down there. Now we're going to go ahead and remove the clamps. The hose clamp bolts at the top by the charge cooler are 6mm. So let's go ahead and remove them. There's also a hose right there that's clipped to this charge pipe. So we're going to go ahead, pop that off as well, and then we can remove this side. All right, so we got this side removed. Another note, this is your turbo right here, one of them. So you want to cover up that hole as well with a microfiber, or you can use a glove to go over that, which some people do, but very, very simple. So let's go ahead and cover that up. Then we can do the same thing on this side. All right, so we got the first turbo covered up. Now we actually have to gain access to the lower clamps down there. So the pipe that we're covering right now, the tube, is actually a 10mm right there. So we're going to go ahead and remove that so we can actually remove this tube out of the way to gain access to the lower bolt, the 8mm, and we'll be able to take that out. Now for the back charge pipe, the lower bolt right there, the 8mm, it is recommended, or at least I recommend using a swivel joint, just because it's hard to kind of get down in there. I'm also using a very large extension, so I get good leverage. So let's go ahead and remove that. All right, so both of these stock charge pipes are removed. Got everything covered up in terms of the turbo, so nothing is going to fall in there. I'm also going to clean this up as well before we start installing the new Eventuris, but there's a few things we actually need to transfer over. You get some really nice billet aluminum couplers that are going to attach right to the turbo, but there actually are some gaskets, O-rings, whatever you want to call them, on the stock ones, so we're going to go ahead and transfer those over. You can actually see the recess in there a little bit. That is actually where the gaskets, the stock O-rings, are going to go into. So let's go ahead and transfer them over. This is the stock charge pipe. This is the one that goes all the way towards the back of the firewall. So I'm simply just going to get the pick tool underneath. As you can see, I got it out a little bit, and just pop this large gasket out. We're going to transfer that gasket over to the new Eventuri one. As mentioned, there is that recess in there, kind of hard to see, but it goes right inside there. So let's go ahead and do that. So there we go. We got the stock gasket in place. Now we're going to go ahead and do it to the other one as well. All right, so we got everything transferred over to the new couplers, the new pieces right here, the little gaskets. So now we can get to installing these. So just something to note, as you're tightening this down, you will realize that the 8mm here that's tightening down the inlets for the turbo is still going to be loose. So if you look on the Eventuri instructions, I'll put a screenshot of it on the screen for you so you can see. That bolt is not meant to tighten the entire inlet down. And the reason why they do that is because they allow for expansion of heat and everything. So the O-ring on the inside still will keep it sealed. And obviously with the charge pipe put in place, it kind of pressure fits it. So yes, this will be a little loose. It's not going to tighten down completely. There will be a little space. Trust me, I was stressing about that, but I looked on the Eventuri instructions right from their website, and they did say something about that. So don't worry if you are stressed out about that. There is nothing to worry about. That is entirely normal. All right, so I got both silicone hoses on the charge cooler. Obviously the outside clamps of this one and this one are still loose, but the ones connected to the charge cooler inlets are already tight because I want them in that position. I positioned the Eventuri facing this way so you can read it this way. So we got the bottom coupler tightened down, everything is good. The one on top is loose, same thing with the outer one right there is loose. So now we go ahead and get everything in position in terms of the charge pipe. We can tighten that down and then move on to this side. All right, charge pipe in position. What I found was putting the top part into the coupler first, and then you're able to position that nice and easy. If you try doing that one first, it's a little hard and you don't want to scratch the carbon, obviously. So put the top one in first, and then you can easily get that in. So let me go ahead and tighten down the last part of the clamps. We're going to get the little tube right here back on with the little 10mm, and then we can move on to the front charge pipe. All right, so we got the back one in, no problem. Everything looks fantastic. I positioned all of the clamps, so the actual nuts, the ugly part of the clamp is on the back side. I tried to make everything nice and even. Just kind of my OCD, but now we can go ahead and put this tube back. It actually goes right here next to the back charge pipe. It's that large opening. One of the first things that were removed to get to the back one. So let's go ahead and put this back, put the little 10mm on, and then we can go ahead and get this part on. All right, so we got the intake inlet in. Now we can go ahead and put the supplied Eventuri adapter on the turbo right there. I've already removed the microfiber, so let me go ahead and get this installed. Just a reminder, there is the gasket that we transferred over from the stock unit, so we're going to go ahead and make sure it gets a nice seal. I'm going to leave the camera here since it is a good angle. So now we got the turbo inlet on. Now we can go ahead and get the Eventuri coupler on as well. So when installing that, there is a lip at the bottom, so you know it's seated nice and properly. So just push it down, make sure you got a nice tight seal around the bottom here. Then we can go ahead and get the clamps on. All right, so before we move on to the front charge pipe, there's one thing that we actually need to do, and that is this little grommet right here. This is for the engine cover. The supplied nylon nut that you get with the kit is actually going to go under that. So we're going to remove that. That is a 13mm, and then we're going to put the nylon nut underneath that so it bumps it up a little bit. So it's a little bit higher for the engine cover to pop in, because if you don't do that, the engine cover is going to hit the charge pipe. So let's go ahead, take this out, put the little nylon spacer on, then we can get the final piece in. All right, so we got both charge pipes installed. Everything is good. Everything's tightened down. So everything is back in terms of the intake. I'm gonna go ahead and get the engine cover back on, the strut brace, clean everything up, and then I can show you the final look. All right, guys, install complete. Everything is put back together, and my God, this looks beautiful. I love how this turned out. Yes, it's a pretty minor touch overall, but knowing it's there and just how everything ties in, I'm very, very happy. Yes, the charge cooler is a very big eyesore. Yes, I do plan on upgrading that. It would be nice to do it all at once. However, I like taking things in stages. I like doing, one by one. I did the intake separately. I did the charge pipe separately. I did the cap set separately. I even did the oil filter cap in a separate video. So doing everything at once can be fun, but I enjoy the process of doing things one by one, experiencing it, getting my opinion on it, and then kind of moving on to the next thing. So doing it one by one just works for me. So that will be replaced. Most likely I'm gonna go with the CSF. They have some really, really cool custom color options, powder coating. They do hydro dipping as well, so I can get one that matches the carbon, and we'll see what I go with. But overall, very, very happy with how this is turning out. The charge pipes are a very, very nice addition to an otherwise pretty awesome engine bay. Adding all this carbon right away is pretty amazing. I'm really curious if this is going to change the overall sound, maybe a little bit more turbo noises, a little bit more kind of overall induction noise in a way. We will see when I get a chance to drive it. I will update you guys in a future video what I think. Now, as for what else I'm doing in the engine bay, I already mentioned I'm doing the charge cooler, but we also got a bunch of titanium hardware to install. So all these bolts that you see in the engine bay are going to be upgraded with some Downstar full titanium. This isn't the billet version. This is the real full titanium burnt version. It's going to look really, really nice and add a really nice pop of color to the engine bay. I also have the Muscle Man oil thermostat, which is sitting right over here. So I'm going to get that installed, and yeah, so plenty more to go. I still have exhaust, suspension, quite a few other things over here to install. We got the new wheels coming in as well. So this car is really, really taking shape, and I am having an absolute blast doing this kind of on my own time, not being pressured to make any videos or anything. I've been so far ahead on videos. It's been really nice to kind of just chill and not just be so pressured to get these videos out. I'm doing it under my own time, and just it's a lot of fun. I'm really enjoying the process. So that's gonna wrap it up for this one, guys. I hope you enjoyed the install of the Eventuri charge pipes. I really, really like how this turned out. Everything fits beautifully, and it's a really, really nice addition to the S55. So if you guys have any questions at all about the charge pipes or anything else on the M3, be sure to ask me below. But in the meantime, keep it clean, keep it simple. I'll catch you guys in the next one.